Welcome to the Howie and Beastmode podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development. Let's join Howie and Beastmode in conversation.
Well, what's going on, Beastmode?
Not a lot, Howie. It's so great to connect again. I love your Christmas tree. You're very festive.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I had a horse behind me and it just didn't feel authentic. I like horses, but I don't have anything in my life. So I'm like, why do I have an English saddle, utilizing horse behind me? So I'm looking for some new stuff from behind me, probably some nerdy stuff or maybe fishing or something. So we'll see. But yeah, for now, Christmas seems good. But it's good to connect. We had a week off last week for family time, which was nice. But it's good to be back in the saddle and chatting. So we've been on this series, Stretching for Growth. Last week was episode 7. So tell the folks what we're planning for this week.
Yeah, so we're closing out the Stretching for Growth. Last week we finished with we spent the whole episode on storytelling and just really kind of clarifying that everybody has a story, everybody has a message, and empowering you to share that story and that message. As we're moving out of 2020 and into 2021, number one, we want to close 2020 strong, but be prepared for 2021. So how do we do that? How can we close out and not get behind for 2021? And that's really where we want to come up with some strategies and planning and just thinking ahead for 2021.
Good. Well, this is going to be kind of a free form, but some of the things that, people want to plan for obviously are, what are my goals? You kind of start off with fundamentally, what are my goals? And, usually those are revenue goals. Companies are in business to make revenue. And so, then really that's it. That's their main focus. And so, if we're going to retain and grow current customers, what's our plan around that? What's your customer success plan, for example? That would be a whole thing. When I worked for my last company in Telemagic, we had account managers that were selling new business and servicing current customers and doing renewals and doing service escalations and all kinds of stuff. They were basically, the reps did everything, but they had these new business numbers and new business was lagging. So when I came on board, I separated that into a customer success team and freed up the sales team to do just new logo business and just drive new logos. They didn't have service escalations anymore. I took that off their plate. They didn't have renewals anymore. And that made a dramatic difference in the focus and then eventually in the revenue. So, one way to think about your next year growth is, what are you doing in terms of your current customers? And I kind of had two things that are nested in that. To your current customers, how you're handling those so that they are getting good service, so they'll stay with you and they will potentially grow. And then also, how are you empowering and freeing up and giving direction to your new business team so that there can be new revenue attainment? So first of all, what is your goal, your top line goal? And then start looking at your current customer strategy and your new business strategy. So that's kind of a couple little trees for you that can flow down for you out of your top line revenue goals.
Yeah, I completely agree. One of the thoughts that just keeps popping into my head is right now there's a lot of businesses, specifically individuals, that are kind of winding down and disconnecting, planning, for future conversations by disconnecting. Hey, I know that you got things that are going to be happening, so we're just going to schedule out, 6 weeks or 8 weeks from now, and we'll reconnect. And I think there's a huge opportunity to connect right now. There's a lot of people who, and not necessarily about business, just connect, make that initial connection and be the last person that they thought about, the last person they talked to. And I think that goes kind of hand in hand with what you're saying. So
it's good. Some of the message, when you talk about sales and marketing and branding, some of the message that I see at the end of the year by different companies is sometimes it's kind of self-serving and it's kind of selfish and it's not very insightful. So I think as you're thinking about how to wind down the year, maybe if you had maybe if part of your messaging was very insightful about, reminding your customers, reminding your prospects about the topics that are related to your business. So for example, one of our friends, so Beastmode and I have a friend who was very interested in a safety related role for a company. And in that role, I think safety inspections was part of that, and things related to OSHA and health and wellness, and safety, physical safety, really. So maybe if that individual or that company was going to be reaching out, there might be here's a checklist of 5 fall risks that maybe in your business that sometimes people don't think about. So maybe try to add that to your new year plan, is to address your fall risks, right? And then again, I've added value to my customers, if they're current customers. I've added insights and I've added value, but I've also added value that can be used in prospecting. And so I think wrapping up the year, you can start to add value to your customers, as well. So there's kind of when people are winding down for the year, sometimes I think you can swim against that current and add value. And, you'll see Beastmode and I continually come back to insights. It's just part of our DNA.
Yeah.
But it's also just good relationship building. It's good selling.
Yeah. I was even thinking that, a lot of times in December, you start identifying where you've won as a business or as a team. And there's an opportunity to share those wins, but again, just like you said, you can share it without being boastful. There's an opportunity to share it, but yet give credit to where credit's due, which is the customers or future customers. So for an example, let's just say you're you're an auto industry, you're Ford or something like that, and you won one of the new safety awards for 2020. Well, wonderful. That is great. You should celebrate that as a team. But you know who actually benefits from that? The people who drive your cars. So you won the award. And so if it was me, like if I was Ford, I would say, we won this award so that you can be safe. We won this for you. You are the benefactors of us winning this award. Mm. We reached a new level in our sales. Congratulations. By us doing that, you're the benefactors of it. And be able to push that back down the pipeline. By us getting here, now we're able to do this. We're able to get our contracts at a cheaper rate. Guess who passes that on to? To you. Sharing the wins at the end of 2020, again, is another great way to be insightful, to share who you are, but to be, if it's true, then you can be authentic about it. And it just really, I think, will take you to another level with your customers.
I think that's really good. If you think about if the car company had won a safety award, it's not a bad thing to get the word out on that. And you don't have to be braggy, and you can be. Chevy chose to do that recently. This is probably a year or two ago, but they had all these. Hey, did you know whose truck is this? And it was like a reveal, and oh, they won an award, and this won an award, and it's like they fill in the room with these vehicles that have won awards. To me, that's kind of wasting my screen time.
Yeah, and I think
it's not respectful. Yeah.
It's just talking about them. We won awards. We won awards. We won awards. Well, that's great. I'm glad you won. How does that benefit me?
Yeah, it really doesn't, to be honest.
Well, it does on the back end if you word it that way. Yeah. But when you just show me all your awards, now you're bragging.
Yeah.
But if you're saying, we won these awards so that your family can be safe.
Yeah.
We won these awards so that, you can, you don't have to worry about bringing your car in every 60 days for repairs, Yeah.
And why don't you turn the fact that you won into how did you do it? That's an insight question. And the reason we did this is because we created a new crumpled zone strategy in our vehicles so that when they were tested, we had perfect, a perfect collapsing strategy. Our cars folded perfectly to accordion and protect our passengers. I'll give you an example, and you can fold that in with a story, and we'll show you guys an example of a plan in a minute. It's not done, but it's a work in progress for food for thought. But we, my daughter, this is a true story. My daughter had a vehicle that was totaled about a month ago, I would say, something like that, maybe 5 weeks ago. And she changed lanes too quickly, and the person in the back of her didn't see her. He drove a huge GMC truck and spun her around. And so she got major damage in the back, and then she hit a Chevy Malibu in the front and had major damage in the front and was turned sideways in the middle of the road. It was a little bit dramatic looking. But when Craig's Collision, I think it was, or Caliber, maybe Caliber Collision, they said that it was beautiful the way the car folded. And it was a Volvo. We bought her a used Volvo because we believe in their safety. And so it's affordable, but it was still safe because they're it's a lot of metal around my daughter. So I bought her a larger car, but also that it's a safe design. And the guy who inspected the collision said it was beautiful the way the car protected her. It was funny to hear a car crash that was totaled be described as beautiful, but my daughter was protected, no injuries, no one had any injuries, and her car was totaled, 0 injuries. And so instead of you just bragging about safety, you can tell a story like that. And that was off the cuff. So I admit I was all over the place. That wasn't a great storytelling job, but you see how that, reaches your heart. And if you have a daughter, or even if you just have a kid, and you can think about how a car folded beautifully, and how it accordioned to cushion itself and not spread into the cabin so that, she doesn't have a broken leg or a scratch. Think how that touches the heart. And yet, what are you doing? Now you've educated all your customers, not just on your award, but on what about crumple zones? You haven't thought about crumple zones before. I guarantee you most of our listeners have not thought about crumple zones. And in the next time they look at cars, they'll want to hear what is a front impact collision rating. You're going to want to know that. And what does that look like in crumple zones? And all of that. So anyway, I think you can turn the brag moment that Beastmode just gave you, but he was cautioning you not to sound braggy, but to add value. You can turn that into a story. You can turn that into an educational insight. And now you still get credit for winning the award, but now you've added value.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. That's a great example. And it's easy. It's easy. And it's just a mindset shift, which is how we started off Stretching for Growth was changing your mindset. And so
that's it. You think about the mindset. All you had to do is say to yourself, this fact is important for me to communicate to my audience. We want an award. How do I add value in the communication of that, right? Usually adding a value, unless you're in the state fair and they're walking by your booth and you're going to slice off pieces of fried corn dogs or fried Twinkies or something fun. That would be adding value. But in a digital world, you can't give physical value. You can't show them what a massage of shoulders feels like when you go to Massage Envy or something. So you have to do digital value is usually education or insights. So turn whatever you're trying to do, and this goes for wrapping at the end of the year or planning for the new year, turn whatever you want to do into an insight and into a story. Remember, we're humans, and stories communicate a lot. So if you can tell a story with an insight, it's even better. So yeah, I think that was a good way to think about wrapping up the end of the year, Beastmode, as well as reinforcing our continual insights message. I want to give a commercial as well. If you guys would like to come on board and share, for a few minutes, maybe not the whole podcast, but maybe we're happy to give you a commercial and say, here's what our brand does, here's what our company does, here's what we're really good at. We probably would ask you to tell a story, because that would communicate to our audience. But we'd love to have you we'd love to just rap with you about what your plans are.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. So just hit us up.
Yeah. Send us a comment on any of the platforms.
Yeah.
But before you comment, make sure you subscribe.
And like all of our stuff. Yeah, YouTube's hard because YouTube is really a hard place to grow an audience. So, the views are just always going to be lower there. Our views are way higher on Spotify and Apple Music and so forth. So, yeah, we appreciate you guys liking and subscribing for sure.
Yeah.
We do need to get a show email address though, and I don't know what that looks like. We'll probably maybe next week we'll announce a Gmail or something that we will use, because I'm tired of the only way they can get a hold of us is just commenting. That needs to be a shared. We need an inbox. You and I need an inbox we can share. So we'll wrap about that, guys. That'll be the reveal. I think, why don't I share my screen? I have a job interview in 7 minutes, so I probably need to give about 5 more minutes here. So wish me luck, guys.
Yeah. Got it.
But we talked about, so I'm creating some plans right now to help me illustrate 2 different companies I'm interviewing for, some example plans. And so this is a particular campaign framework to methodically develop new customers. Am I sharing it fine?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to hide my video. It's right in my face. There it is. So Project Insight. And I just want to give you, as we're talking about planning for next year and kind of wrapping up the year here, think about your goals and document them. You've seen the studies, you've heard the statistics about people who document their goals versus people who don't. So document your goals, and then write some plans. You'd be surprised the benefit to you, the thought work of having to write down your plans and then your goals and then your plans and your strategies. So Project Insight has been really helpful to me. But it basically talks about, it's a campaign framework to develop new customers. So I kind of go over the need. So basically, what's your top line goal, right? So what's your goal or your need? What are the problems with that? And guys, you'll have your own, but I'm just giving you some ideas for what your plan could look like. So what are the challenges with meeting your need? What's the solution? And then and I use the word scalability, but I could have said benefit as well. And so the benefits of this plan are this. And then what are the requirements for you to go after that goal, right? In this case, it's a prospecting plan. And so you need a database or a list, right? So what's your total addressable market? And who is your ideal customer profile? Some of you, if you're in the sales world, have heard those terms before. So requirements, tools. What kind of tools do you need? This will be, you could probably also call this investment or something, but tools is pretty good. So I'm talking about needing, a CRM. We're fans of HubSpot. Salesforce is a really big enterprise one, CRM as well. And then I just talk a little bit about, what the high level approach is. And, we're going to do customer outreach as part of this. It's going to be personal outreach instead of spammy, just kind of marketing type outreach. We'll talk a little bit about message priming. We'll talk about message tone. We talked to you about this just a few seconds ago, so you'll see where I was coming from. But, trying to, share insights on pains and gains. So in this case, we talked about crumple zones in cars and safety ratings and that kind of stuff. And then what did I do? I used my daughter as an example because it was fresh. Priming is good. Priming just talks about basically using common images or common keywords so that people associate that to make accepting future messages quicker and easier. And then we talked about, we've actually talked about on this podcast doing studies of your data these are actually examples of that. So looking at your order history or looking at your CRM system and just totaling up what are the issues that you're seeing. Anyways, just part of the plan here. Questions that can be answered with the historical data study. Anyway, I kind of go on and on here about some of the tactics, and then at the end, I haven't gotten to this point yet, but I'm going to actually provide an example campaign that is something that I really do want to execute on. And so, anyway, that's an idea of a sales by the way, your sales campaigns. I think you would really benefit from a sales campaign that was this detailed. I think that would be really, really beneficial to you to have that written down. One of the comments that I made about scalability up here, which is like benefits, is that if you have a written plan like this, you can ramp up sales reps with an employee onboarding process, and you could also have a common operating language for the business, which reduces friction and increases decision speed. So anyway, just one example. I know we're coming from a sales and marketing perspective, so you're probably not too surprised to see us talk about a sales and growth plan. But Beastmode, any thoughts on that for the folks, or any other wrap-up comments?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that can and should be dived into. I mean, we've talked about it before. You can go fairly deep into a lot of that stuff. So be careful with that, but definitely have a plan, have it written down. That way you can execute off of that plan. And so we want to thank you guys. We hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with you and your families, and that everybody was safe. And we're looking forward to spending the next 4 weeks wrapping up 2020 and really pushing hard into 2021 and providing insight, value, and planning. So you guys stay with us, and we look forward to having you on soon.